This video will be an explanation of how to move our files from our computers to the web server so that our websites will go online for real. And I will take you through all of the steps. The first thing we need to do is actually not in Dreamweaver, but just in our file management. So open up your Windows Explorer window and navigate to your website files. So all of us might have these saved in different locations. For me, I'm just going to be working from the desktop. You should have yours saved on your network drive. And I'm just going to take some time here to set up a fake website. Okay, so I've set up a fake website here. I just created this folder called Christensen C. Now yours doesn't have to be named like that. It actually doesn't matter. But just for naming conventions, please use your last name and then first initial and then capitalize in the same way. So capitalize the first initial of your first initial as well as capitalize your last name, just like this. When you click inside that folder, what you really want is to have all of your website files, and that's including any images that you might have used that you had downloaded. So if you have just web pages, it's just web pages, but if you happen to use an image, make sure that that image is in this folder as well. Now that you have your folder set up, you're ready to go into Dreamweaver. And in Dreamweaver, you need to set up a site. And at the very top here in the menu bar, that is how you set up a site. Click on Site, New Site, and this box will pop up. And you can name your site. I'm going to name mine the same as my folder, although it doesn't actually matter. And then I have to choose, this is the important part, I have to choose the folder where all of my files are stored. So for me, it was on my desktop, and it was in a folder that I called Fake Website. And it was then in a folder called Christensen C. So now that I'm in the Christensen C folder, I'm going to hit Select, and I'm going to hit Save. And I'll notice that down in the bottom right-hand corner of Dreamweaver, it has the site now with all of the files that were in that folder. And let me just check. So I've got these 4 files, and I'm going to bring out this window a little bit farther. I've got these 4 files, and if I read their names and I check back here, you know, it's the same 4 files here. So really all Dreamweaver is doing when it created this site is just giving me easy access from within Dreamweaver to these files. So now it's just a quick click and I can bring up the file I was working on. And also the files I'm working with right now are Emma's from the afternoon class. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer these from my computer to the web server, and this is the way it works. Conceptually, you want to think that the web server, which it really is another computer in another part of the school, or it could be also somewhere else, and it's just a normal computer. Just think of it as a normal computer that's going to store your files. And so what we need to do is use FTP. FTP is the File Transfer Protocol, and that is what we use to transfer our files. Now you don't really need to know anything special about it. It's right down here in this corner of the Dreamweaver interface. That's what we're going to be using to transfer our files, and it's really not that difficult. So right now I have to set up the connection from my computer to the web server, and so I do that over here. I can click on this Connect to Remote Host. That's the same thing as saying connect to the web server. So click that, and then here I'm in my Servers tab. And really this is the same window that popped up earlier. It's just instead of being in the Site tab, now I'm on the Servers tab. Hit the little plus sign. It says Add New Server. Server name. I'm going to call this ESD Web Designers. If you call it something different, it will not mess anything up, so it doesn't really matter. We're using FTP as our connection type, and the FTP address is cp.server292.com. Now your username and password I will tell you in class. I'm going to type mine in right now. Your username will be the same format as mine, Christensen C. So yours will be the same format but with your name. And the password, and again I'll tell you that in class. And then click Test. Do not hit Save, click Test. Okay, so there was an error. So I must have typed this in wrong. And try my password again, click Test. And yes, it worked. Dreamweaver connected to your web server successfully. Hit OK, and then hit Save. Okay, this is really cool. When you save, well, first of all, this box pops up. You don't really need to worry about these technical details. Just hit OK. What's really cool now is I have a connection. So even though these are my files right here, now it's very easy for me to transfer these to the web server. And let's just take a look real quick. Over here on this drop down, if I click Local View, I'm looking at my computer. These are the files on my computer that I'm seeing right here. But if I click Remote Server, it's going to show me the files that are on my portion of the web server. So I set up accounts for everyone on the web server, and so you only have access to your portion of it. And I'm going to now go back to, and notice the remote server, there's nothing on it right now, and all of yours should be the same. There should be nothing on your portion of the web server. I'm going to go back to Local View to look at my computer, and I'm going to simply right click on one of these files and go put. And you know what, there's an easier way, I think, probably to use the visual stuff here. So if I click on the file and then I hover over this up button, it says Put Files. And think of that as saying put files onto the web server. So I'm going to click that. It asks me this message. I'm going to just hit no for now. It would not matter one way or the other. And if I go back to remote server now, there it is. Now that file is actually on the remote server, and I could actually access this on the World Wide Web. Oh, excuse me. For real. I'm going to go back to the Local View, and I'm going to do the same thing for my other files. Now this could get a little tedious doing every file, so I'm going to highlight the next two together by holding the Shift key down as I click, and click Put Files, and it'll put both of them this time. And now if I look at the remote server, they're all there. This is great. I'm going to open up my web browser now, and I'm going to go to ESD Web Designers, and let me drag this down just a little bit. I'm going to go to esdwebdesigners.com right there, and when I do, this website pops up. Now this needs to be refreshed because I just changed it. So this website was saved in my computer's cache, but if I click refresh, it'll update, or should update. Okay, so now period 3 now is no longer last semester's class, now it's us. And I put my name on there as well. Now if you hover, I'm in Google Chrome right now, but Firefox will do the same thing. If you hover over the link, it'll tell me, look at the very bottom of the screen, it tells me where it's trying to link to. Now I'm going to click this link and I'm going to get an error, 404 not found, because the link does not go to the right place. If I view page source, I can see where the link is trying to go to. Scroll down until I see my name here. Here we go. This is the part of the code that's trying to link to my file, and it's got this whole relative link right here. And the interesting thing is that it's trying to link to a file called index.html. And so that's what I need to do, is I need to have a file called index.html. And so what I'm going to do is go back to Dreamweaver and just change one of my files. Notice I'm on the remote server, so I need to go back to Local View. I'm going to delete the, I'm going to take this one and have this one be essentially my home page. So instead of having it called Ada Lovelace Analytical Machine, I'm going to change this to say index.html. Okay? And it says update links in the following files. This is just a fancy feature of Dreamweaver, making sure I don't get broken links, so it's actually going to go into the code of the other files that link to this file and change them. That's very, very handy. And now that I've got my index.html file, I'm going to put it to the web server. Okay, so now if I go to my remote server, I can see it there, but there's a problem. I have 5 files now, and really I don't need this one anymore because I just changed its name on my local view. So what I'm going to do is right click and go to Edit and Delete to get rid of that one because I don't need it anymore. And now the really cool part is it should work. Now that there's a file named index.html, if I go back to ESD Web Designers and I follow this link again, there we go. It went to this web page, and now there's a broken link on this web page, but I'm not going to look into that right now. The point is that everything worked.